Hi, this is Julie from El Mundo de Pepita once again with another activity in our series of synchronous and asynchronous activities for the remote learning platform and reality. So in this episode, I wanted to share an activity that you can do. This is a literacy activity that ties in and is supported by our part of one of our resources, which is our alphabet pack. And the portion of that are our mini books that are included in that alphabet pack. These are printable. They come in color and black and white. And each of them focuses on one letter or sound in the Spanish alphabet and includes almost like a little picture dictionary of words that start with that particular letter for each one. This is a literacy activity, but it is not specifically about working on the letter of the alphabet. These books and that are obviously focusing on one letter at a time. These are meant to serve as a scaffold for your students to help them with actually doing the activity. So you will need a cookie tray and magnetic letters, okay, that stick, right? I will say that if you do not have magnetic letters, or you don't have cookie tray, or you don't have a cookie tray that's like, in good condition, I have these dedicated just for class. They're not ones obviously that I use. You can just do this activity by writing on paper with a dark marker. So those materials are not necessary. I just think that they add to kind of the visual interest for students. So to start with, you would choose one of the mini books. These are really simple. You can see they're a little bit different than my regular mini books because it's just one sheet of paper that you fold in half and then half again. But you would go over the words in the particular mini book with your students. So in this instance, la litera B, bate, banana, bebé, barco, ballena. On the back, there is just a little sentence. El barco es verde. Okay. In the black and white version, this page allows for the kid to be, it's a little bit interactive to have the kids actually color in that paint blob. So you've gone over the words, okay? Banana, bebé, barco, y ballena. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just use some magnets to put that book in place like that, okay? So these are going to serve as the word bank for the activity, and you're going to be able to do this activity in multiple rounds with different books. But one book serves as the word bank for one round. And the idea behind that is to give your students, again, that scaffold, that support. You're limiting the possibilities. And the reason why is because what you're going to do with the magnetic letters is you're going to start spelling out one of these words. I will tell you that during quarantine, I have been doing a lot of watching of Wheel of Fortune. It's kind of actually very calming for me. It reminds me of my childhood when I used to spend a lot of time with my grandparents, and we would watch game shows at night. So this is not Hangman, okay? But it is very similar to the idea of Wheel of Fortune, where you start spelling out a word, and the objective for the student is to try and guess which word it is before you finish, right? Relatively easy, but the beauty of being relatively easy is that it means your students are going to enjoy success, and that's going to boost their confidence. So we really want to, I think especially during remote learning, but overall, we really want to be supporting that confidence and boosting that confidence for our students. And the way that we can do that sometimes, or often obviously, is to provide activities that are accessible for all of your students and allow them to have success. So this might, I did want to say at the beginning that this is really great for your upper elementary students because it does require some reading skills. That is not to say that your younger students cannot do this. And I'll show you a variation in a moment for your older students. Okay, so you would start, you've chosen one of these words, right? And I'm going to start spelling it. And I can do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to just do it this way first. Okay, so if I, kind of slow down here, right? If I stop after this, we still have 3 possibilities. Vagina, barco, or banana. Right, so you might have some kids calling out if you're in a synchronous session. Now we're narrowing it down. It's going to get really obvious really quickly which word it is. Barco, right? So they can see the word here, and again, it's that scaffold for kids, right? They're going to be really successful. Now, if you have younger students who are still developing sight word and reading, and I will say, when I say reading, even for my 4th graders, I am not expecting them to sound every word out in Spanish. What I am expecting them to do, though, is to apply the literacy skills that they have learned, both in my classroom and certainly in the homeroom, toward figuring out a lot of sight words and kind of recognizing, because my kids interact with print from kindergarten onward in Spanish class, right? So they're constantly seeing these words and internalizing the idea of those, what the sound of Spanish, how that matches with the look of Spanish. But for your younger students, you might pause here and sound that out for them out loud, right? So, and you might even ask, Kids might start yelling out, okay, posiblemente sí. Banana es una opción, o barco, o ballena, ¿cuál es? And then bar, right? So you're giving them those initial sounds. So that just gives an added layer of support for your younger students. So you get the idea of how simple this is. You can do multiple rounds either within one mini book, or you could switch it out to do a different one, right? Again, so this one is a black and white one I happen to have. La G, this is La G fuerte. Globo, right? Gato, globo, gafas, gallina. Okay, on the back, el gato is gris, right? But so then we would do the same thing, okay? And you would spell it out, right? So you see how that works, right? Gato. Okay. Super, super simple way to do this. I think it's really important for your students, especially, again, as I said, to give that scaffold. You could certainly adapt this activity, or as you do this activity multiple times, or your kids are more familiar or more skilled at reading, you could do it without the scaffold, for sure. A second way to do this, or an additional extension, would be, and this would be really great for asynchronous learning, where you might make a video or even just take photos of the word without, so maybe they're used to this activity, you've done this activity in a live setting, and then you take, for the asynchronous follow-up, you take a series of them, right? Super simple for most kids, not all. And so instead of listen and draw, you're going to have them read and draw, right? And you can do this in a bazillion different ways, right? This is just another way to follow up and have it be in a different format, which I think sometimes is helpful. You know, we just kind of mix it up, even though we might be doing the same thing. We're doing it in a different way, different manner. So you kind of add, you keep the novelty going, right? So you would take a picture with this, and then they would write it and illustrate it, right? So read and draw, read, write, and draw. So fantastic. And then you would, take a picture of another one with a new word. And you could do this with like 10 words, right? And put them on Seesaw. I like the visual component of these letters, just it mixes it up a little bit for our kids. So that's the activity. It's super simple. You can do this with other sets of vocabulary. You can have numbers and have them start spelling out the numbers. I did that with my students the other day. You can also fill in the letters out of order if you're really good at kind of like visually placing them. I will say that starting at the beginning and sounding out is really a little bit easier for younger students. For older students, so if you were in middle school or high school, I think mixing up and like starting it, so just so you kind of get an idea of what I mean by this, instead of placing the letters in the order of how they're spelled, you might go like this. Right. To keep the mystery going. Okay. So you could do it like that. Again, for younger students, it's really hard sometimes to visualize those words. So this would be, this version would be particularly fantastic for 4th grade and up. Middle school, high school, absolutely. So that's the activity. I hope it is helpful. One small tip, you will notice I'm kind of grabbing the letters from over here. I have all the words, and I'm going to show you this really, really quickly if I can. I have all the words that I want to be using set up already in order. Okay, this makes it really, really helpful that I do not have to search for the letters in the middle of a synchronous live Zoom class, right? They're all ready to go. And so I can just transfer them from one to the next to show students one word at a time. So just a little organizational, logistical trick that can be really helpful. So I hope that this activity was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye!